Hi, I'm Peter Mary, the fun wedding guy, and today is March 25th, 2010, and I'm driving up to Los Angeles to the Federal Building to pick up my very first passport. Monday morning I fly out to Toronto, Canada, and Tuesday night I'll be speaking to the Wedding Planners Institute of Canada on the 6 pillars of wedding marketing. So that'll be Tuesday night. I'm going to spend all day Wednesday holed up in a room with about 15 DJs from all over Canada learning how they do what they do. But for today's episode, I promised that I would talk about my very first quote-unquote professional paid wedding reception. The date was July 4th of 1992, and it's kind of ironic that that was the date that I did my first wedding because it was also the birth date of my girlfriend at the time, my wife, who was holding the camera. And so to not only take a job, but take a job that had me going away working while she's celebrating her birthday was probably a foreshadowing of things to come in the world of being a mobile DJ. After all, we always give up all of our weekends and holidays to help other people celebrate, right? So anyway, the wedding reception was in a backyard in Mission Viejo on top of a hill. And I remember it very clearly because obviously when the fireworks started going off, we were in a position to be able to watch like 3 or 4 different fireworks shows. And as you recall from the last episode, I had been hired pretty much right off the street. I went in and did an interview and did a job. After doing a karaoke job, I wound up doing my first wedding literally a couple of weeks later. I had maybe done one ride-along with the owner. I really didn't know a lot about what to do at a wedding. He gave me a list of music that they wanted for dancing, music for the first dance and father-daughter dance. Other than that, the rest was totally up to me. So I showed up at the wedding in the backyard, got set up with the 3rd string equipment, which meant a lot of it was not in the best of shape. I had a limited supply of music as well because I was using the 3rd string library. And then I proceeded to ask the bride and groom a whole bunch of questions because I didn't know what they wanted or how things were going to happen. And I proceeded to make the best of what I had, even though I had a record player that kept skipping. That's right, I was spinning records. And made the best of the night, but when it was all said and done, on Monday morning, the caterer called the owner of the DJ company and told him that it looked like I didn't know what I was doing. Truth be told, probably didn't. It was my first paid wedding reception. I thought my job was to show up and play some music and make some general announcements, and that should be pretty easy to do. As a result of that feedback from the caterer, I got quote-unquote benched for the next 6 months and became the roadie for the owner of the company. So I would go out on weddings with him and watch what he did, and I would carry all of his equipment and set it up and tear it down, and I would pull all of his records up to make sure he had the songs he needed for what he was going to play. And I spent the next 6 months in training watching him do what he did. And one of the most interesting things I learned was that there were certain songs and certain things that he would play fairly regularly. I also found out that he had about 5 milk crates full of records that I was having to haul and set up and arrange. And one day I got a little frustrated and I brought them home and I dumped them out in our living room. Lisa wasn't thrilled about that. But by the time I was done sorting through them all, I'd found about 1.5 crates worth of double albums. And I was able to reorganize the entire collection down to just 2 milk crates that had everything he ever needed or would ever use. And he still wound up using those 2 same crates for about the next 5 to 6 years. So obviously my organizational skills were coming in handy, and I was definitely enjoying the party atmosphere of being at a wedding, but sitting on the bench was getting tiresome. I really wanted to get back in the game. And so on tomorrow's episode, I'm going to talk about an event that I did for a holiday party that kind of told me that I really needed to start pursuing this more regularly and become the front man, become the master of ceremonies, become the DJ. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Peter Mary, and you're watching The Fun Wedding Guy.